Alright guys, so we're here at my mom's house and I am going to be cleaning my K&N air filter, and I'm going to walk you guys through the process using the actual recharge kit, right? So it's actually a two-step process. One cleans and then one resprays the wax that goes on there. I don't know if they make a different color one. The one that I have is just the red wax. They might have a one with the blue wax, but you don't really see my intake, so it's not really that big of a deal. But let's get started. We're just going to start washing it off real quick. It's actually pretty simple. So what we're gonna do, set it down. So you don't need a whole lot of pressure if you want to wash some of that dirt off. So after you get it all wet, what we'll do, dig into this filter real quick. Or this box, I mean. And then we'll grab the spray. So it's not really going as planned. My little sprayer is not really. Now, if the spray nozzle was actually working, I wouldn't have to do that. But my spray nozzle is not really working, so I'm gonna work it in with my hands. And then you let it sit for a few minutes and spray it out. But as you're doing it, that's the perfect time to go ahead and look for any dirt and bugs or leaves and all that stuff that get sucked in through your intake. And get that all cleaned up. Straighten any of the fins out on it, like this one right here. Get those cleaned up, and you know, just nice. Yeah, and then you just let it sit on there for a few minutes. Let it sit on there for a few minutes, let it kind of dissolve some of the wax that's already built up on there, and then you'll go back and just kind of spray it off, and then it'll turn white. Okay, so as you guys can see, we got a little bit of color in there. I'm probably gonna spray it one more time, let it sit just for another few minutes, and then come back, rinse it off, because you just want to be thorough about getting it clean. And then even the rinsing part, you don't want to leave any of the, you want to make sure all the filter cleaner is off of it too. I don't know what problems it can cause, but it's just clear. You just want to rinse it off really good, make sure there's no soapy water still running off of it when you think you're done, and then you gotta let it dry. So I'm gonna spray it one more time and then let it sit for another 10 minutes, and then we'll get right back to it. I don't know if I mentioned to spray the inside. I don't even know if I did it on the first time, but I just did it on the second time. So you gotta spray the inside too really well. That's probably why partially it didn't wipe off, but I'm gonna go ahead and respray it off now. Let me get this moved over here. But yeah, it's important, guys. Take care of your filters. You know, that'll cause a lot of dirt and a lot of things to pass through your engine. You know, you can even actually, if you let your filter go so long, you'll pull your filter apart because your truck is, or your car is trying to breathe. So yeah, like I said, this is the K&N air filter to my 2007 F-150. So let's go ahead and rinse this off and get it cleaned. All right, so it's all nice and clean now, so we'll let it sit, let it dry out, and then, oh, I got the camera a little wet. So So we'll let it sit, let it dry out, and then I'll go ahead and respray it with the recharge, which is this bottle right here. It's the air filter oil. So once that's done, once it's done drying, but we're gonna let it sit for a little while. I mean, let it do its thing. I mean, you don't want to rush it. You don't want to use an air compressor or nothing. Let it dry naturally, because you don't want to damage any of the fins on there. So we're just gonna let it dry, and then we'll go ahead and spray it. All right, so it's been a few hours, probably like 2 hours. We're gonna let the filter dry all the way. There should be no moisture coming off this filter before you guys spray it, because otherwise all that's gonna happen is gonna run the oil down off of it. Oil and water don't mix. Keep that in mind. So you want your filter to be all the way dry. You don't want to use an air compressor because you don't want to damage the fins on there. You don't want to use pressurized water because you don't want to damage the fins on there. So just be patient, do it right, and you'll have a filter that lasts a lifetime. Be patient, do it right, and you'll have a filter that lasts a lifetime. God, I don't know why it was so hard to say right now. Anyway, we're gonna spray it. I'm gonna put some gloves on. We're gonna spray it. My wife said I couldn't stay clean. I stayed clean. I proved her wrong, but I still have to spray the oil, so we'll see. Hopefully I don't turn it, my pants don't turn a different color. So let me put some gloves on and then we'll spray. Take the watch off. I definitely don't want to cover that. And then yeah, once you spray it, you definitely just want to let it sit, let it dry all the way. Definitely don't recommend putting it in. Like for most people, if like this, the truck is not my daily driver, so letting it sit is not a problem. But if you have a daily driver, I honestly recommend getting 2. So that way you don't have any downtime, and that way, you know, you can, when you change the filter, you could just change it, put the clean one in, and whenever you have time, you can go ahead and clean that one. Usually do it every oil change, if not more. Cleaner filter, the better your truck's gonna run, or your car. So keep that in mind. So I'm definitely gonna give it a nice shake. And like I said, we're gonna start from the top and work our way to the bottom. This stuff, I mean, it sprays out pretty good. So I mean, you don't need a whole lot. This thing on here says let filter stand for 20 minutes. And then go back and do visible spots. So like it says, you shouldn't try to soak the whole thing at once, right? You don't need a whole lot. And I'm sure if you put too much on there and too much dries, you know, you're probably not getting as much air through your K&N air filter. So let's go ahead and spray it. And I think that looks pretty good, so we'll go ahead and let it sit for 20 minutes and then come back, check it, make sure there's no white spots on there, make sure it's actually covered. But yeah, you don't want to do too much more than that. You don't want it dripping. Obviously you're gonna have some fluid around here, just due to spraying it, but you just want everything to kind of sit, let it fall off, and yeah, let it do its thing, let it soak in. And there shouldn't be, like I said, there shouldn't be anything crazy excess dripping off of it. If there's excess dripping off of it, you put too much, but just let it dry. Don't put it in your truck or your vehicle right away. So we'll give it 20 minutes and we'll come right back to it. Man, I've been doing so much work on the truck, just trying to get everything dialed in, all the leaks fixed, any little problem, like everything's getting done. And I'm probably gonna end up buying an oil catch can because I'm getting oil leaking into the intake pretty hard. So that's gonna have to happen pretty soon. But yeah, so while I'm letting the filter dry, I went ahead and started cleaning some of the intake parts over there. I'm gonna wipe them down in a second. But yeah, you know, while everything's apart, I'm putting everything back in fresh. I'm gonna do some painting on the engine. It's gonna be fresh. It's gonna be fresh. So stay tuned to that. But yeah, still waiting on that to dry. And then that's about it though, guys. So once you get that filter sprayed, let it sit for 20 minutes. And it's looking like I'm not really having any blank spots. So I think I'm good to go on that. But thank you guys for watching. Have a good one.